What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Constant Sports. I am your host, Constance. Now, we all know yesterday was a feisty day in the WNBA, right? We had like 3, 4 fights that broke out. I felt like this whole weekend it was a little spicy. Um, we had some people kicked out of games. We had a few technicals. Um, just came out that Ruthie Hebert of Chicago is going to be suspended for a game. A few other players will be fined. But that's all part of the game, right? Games get emotional, especially this time of the season when teams are fighting for those extra games. They're fighting to win those games, and emotions can get high, and they do get high, and they just got to keep rolling with it. So I have no issues in the feistiness that happened yesterday or any other days. Shouts out to Shea Petty of Phoenix. I hope she gets well. She got a inadvertent elbow to the neck head area. Nothing intentional, but I really hope that she recovers well and gets back with her team. As I saw, Phoenix signed Destiny Henderson to a 7-day contract, so that's going to be very fun to watch how she can come in and mix with that team. And hopefully she continues to play well like she played for LA a few weeks back. And I hope she continues that and plays well for Phoenix so she can make her case that either the rest of this season or coming into next season, she finds herself on the WNBA team. I think that would be very, very good for her, and I'm hoping it happens. Some of the main things for me for this weekend was obviously Vegas lost to the Liberty, which isn't like a real big thing. It's more of a big thing for New York than it is for Vegas. Vegas didn't play well. Um, that was a very feisty game as well. Like they didn't play well. They wasn't together, so that wasn't like the Aces team that we are used to seeing. And for New York, they pretty much won all of their games this weekend. They beat Minnesota, which to me is probably a better win for them than beating Vegas, seeming how Minnesota beat Connecticut, and they also beat the Liberty a few weeks back. And to me, a team that's that high up in the standings should not be losing to Minnesota. Not saying that Minnesota isn't a good team, because they are a good team. They're a very well coached team. And I knew they were going to figure it out because Cheryl Reeves is a great coach. But it was the fact that Liberty beat them, right? And then they turn around and then they beat Vegas as well. So some might think that they might have found their stride in all of this. And possibly that could definitely be the case. We'll never know until their next game. Let's see, who is their next game? They don't play again until Friday when they play Chicago, which would be a very good game for them. They should win that game by a lot, but you never know. You're trying to see what a team can bring, especially a team that's put together how New York is, to see if this is a serious team or not, right? Everyone's putting them up against Vegas, but we all know Vegas is a serious team. They just won the championship last year. They literally kept their starting five, right? Added some new pieces. So we know they're a serious team. Is New York a serious team, right? Can they play together? Can they win together? Can they continue to go on these streaks into the playoffs and do what everyone thinks that they were going to do when all of the signings of Jonquel Jones, Breanna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot, all of these happened? Is this a serious team? And the rest of the season will definitely see that. The Wings kind of took a little dip a little bit. They lost a couple games that I do believe they should have won. While they took a dip, a few teams, they came in with some wins. You had LA won a game. Chicago is continuing to that up and down trend, but they're winning their games. They're struggling with a lot of the teams, but Chicago has 12 wins. LA has 10 wins. Obviously, we all know Washington is keep. They're losing a lot of the games since Elena Deladon has been gone. Ariel Atkins is out, and that is definitely something to watch. Seeing how Washington is the number 16 with 13 wins, and Minnesota is the number 7 with 13 wins. So unfortunately, Washington has found themselves towards that bottom of the pack when it comes to standings for the playoffs. And if they don't figure something out here soon, it's going to hurt them. Their next few games, they have a game against Phoenix, the Mercury, which they should be able to win that game. But Phoenix is an up and down team. They can win games. Diana Taurasi hit her 10,000 points a few games back. And the games before that and the games after, she's been playing really, really well. Brittany Griner is also back and playing since they came back home. So it's going to be a tough game for Washington, but if they can win that, they can kind of stay above Chicago and Minnesota if they continue to do that. Because you have Chicago and Minnesota are playing each other tomorrow. So that's a very big game to define the standings at that point, because either way those teams win, whoever wins and lose definitely has a better shot at getting a higher seeding. So Washington definitely to me has the tougher part of going right now. Lynx are playing back to back. They're playing Chicago on Tuesday, and then on Thursday, because we don't have a game on Wednesday, on Thursday they're playing Indiana. So they definitely have to win one of those two games. If not, try to win both, because you want to stay ahead of Chicago. But if LA continues to win, which is a possibility, then you can also have 3 to 4 teams looking for spots 8, 7, and 6. They can be totally different from what they are right now. So you have the Sparks playing the Fever, Minnesota and Chicago playing each other, and then the next game that we have, you have Minnesota playing the Fever, and then it just keeps going and going. So how these teams react and push forward after tomorrow, after yesterday, with all of the feistiness that happened in all of the games, the suspensions that will be coming down, the fines that will be happening, how do they control their emotions for their next game? I saw it happen years back when LA got into that huge fight with, I believe it was Detroit, they got into that huge fight with, and the momentum changed for LA after that. The rest of that game, obviously, the game was pretty much done after that. And then you had that next game where you had quite a few people that were suspended, and then the game after that, their play wasn't the same. So, however these teams react from the feistiness of those games on Sunday is definitely going to see how mature these teams are, right? How does LA bounce back? How does Washington bounce back? How does Chicago and Dallas and all of these teams bounce back? But also, how do the Aces bounce back from a loss at, I mean, they lost pretty badly. So they got beat like they beat teams. So how do they bounce back from a loss like that, right? Do they just take that loss, swallow it, put it behind them, and keep moving forward? Or do they let it settle on their conscience a little bit? That would definitely tell you which teams are matured for the rest of this week on how the rest of these games go. So I can't wait to watch all these upcoming games. I'm super excited about the momentum that we have trying to make it into the playoffs and how these teams are pushing and how they're fighting, literally fighting to make it to that next level. I'm here for it. Continue to watch with me. Continue to support me. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Peace, love, happiness.